Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, and I am the host of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. If you are enjoying this show, you should also check out the Premier Boys Podcast, hosted by myself, Aaron Kintok Sands, the Star Rider Rod, and Long Live the Chief Mighty Mal, where we discuss many topics within the culture, from music, love, relationships, sex, politics, and many more. We could make you laugh, but this show could also get a little raunchy and may not be for everybody. But if you're willing to take that risk, check out the Premier Boys Podcast every Wednesday, a part of the Premier Powerverse. Other show you could check out on the Premier Powerverse is King Talk with Aaron Sands, hosted by Aaron King Talk Sands every Friday at 12 p.m. Star Time Podcast hosted by the Star Rider Rod every Monday at 12 p.m. And Welcome to the Trilogy hosted by Long Live the Chief Mighty Mal every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Listen and support on every show in the Premier Powerverse. Thank you for listening to this message and enjoy the show. You are now listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast Season 8. Chill! Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, 1/4 of the Premier Boys Podcast, and your host of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And welcome to another new episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Hope all is well. And on this episode, I got my special guest. She is a pro bono specialist. She is the creator of Juju Productions and a whole bunch of other things. And we're going to talk to her about her life journey, being a pro bono specialist, Juju Production, and many more. And this was a really dope conversation. I can't wait for y'all to hear this episode. And y'all already know what to do. Sit back, relax, and I'll be right back.
What is up? It's Rena Friedman Watts, host of the Better Call Daddy Show. And I am so excited to be here with Ken of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You guys are in for a treat.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. At this time for Mr. Gentleman Facts quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, claim it and it's yours. And I say this because whatever dreams that you have, manifest it, claim it, and it will be yours. You just have to believe it, but also put in some work to get towards that dream or that goal that you really want to do. And that is today, Mr. Gentleman Facts quote of the day. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, and I am the host of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And this commercial break is brought to you by Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. On Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, we interview many guests about their life journey, pretty much where they come from and where they at now. Also promoting their brands or whatever they're doing at the time they come on the show. We also have the host talk about personal stories about himself and everything that he's been through. And also we have fun conversation about anything music, anything old school, relationships, wrestling, and many more. And y'all can tune in to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays at 12 a.m. We are also on every Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Spin-Off Series Thursdays, where we have all of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast spin-off series all in one day, where we have a conversation about music podcast every first Thursday at 12 a.m. The Old School Show with myself and the Star Rider Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And we have Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursdays at 12 a.m. And y'all can tune in to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, The Pods, and many more. Or y'all can check it out on the official website of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, and tune in every Sundays and Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in to this commercial break of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Cheers!
Hello, this is Juju here, and you are listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, it's time for my special guest. She is a pro bono specialist. She has a business called Juju J Production, and she's doing a whole lot of things that we'll get into today. We got Miss Juju in the building. Juju, how are you doing?
Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on here, Ken. I appreciate you, Mr. AKA Gentleman. Happy Friday, and I'm excited to be here. As Ken said, I'm Julissa Zaragoza Arroyo, but everybody knows me as Juju.
Yes, and I'm not gonna lie, this has been a long time coming because you've been on my radar for a very, very long time, and I know we've been trying to get this, but happy to finally have you on the show.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yes, I know that we've known each other for a while and we've seen each other out and about in these streets of New York. So I am excited to be here and excited to chat it up with you and all your listeners.
Yes, and before we get into it, you said we do know each other, and we met during my time I was promoting that Catcher and Taj.
Yes.
Which is now crazy. Oh no, crazy time back then. Crazy time. Which is now crazy because both of them are no longer here.
Yeah, so, exactly, right?
Yeah, I know.
I just saw that about Taj. It's a place that had been around, I think, since I could go out, since I was able to go out. So it was out. It was open for a long time.
Very, very long time, and yeah, but I have to have you here, and you are doing an amazing thing. But before we get into all of that, we're gonna do a little icebreaker question. So I'm gonna ask you, where are you from?
I have a little saying. I say California, LA gave birth to me. Mexico lives in my blood because both my parents are Mexican immigrant farm workers that came to this country. And New York made me the woman that I am. And I say that because I came to New York at 17, turning 18, and never left. So I consider all three my home and where I'm from.
and we're going to dive more into your life story in a moment. But before we get to that, how would you describe yourself as a person? Give me 3 words.
I would say I'm a social justice seeker. I'm compassionate. And I'm a go-getter.
Good choices. What is one thing that brings you peace?
One thing that brings me peace is my home. I work really hard on keeping my home to be my peaceful, sacred space, whether it's because of the energy I allow in it, the flowers, the candles. But yeah, my home brings me lots of peace.
That's a very good answer. And what is in your headphones right now? It could be a song, an album, or even a podcast. What are you listening to right now?
What am I listening to right now? Oh my God. I'm a music lover, but I'm an oldie. Like, I know you probably get this a lot, but I listen to old Erykah Badu, old Roots. Just today I had on repeat the Roots song with Jill Scott and Eve. I love that song. Yeah. So I definitely am a music lover. So Alexa knows me already. Anything from the 80s and 90s is my jam.
I mean, I could agree with you on that too. I listen to a lot of old school too. So I agree with you 100%. 100%. So now let's talk about your beginning of life. So how was you growing up? Let's talk about your life story.
Okay, so I guess we'll start with I was born in LA, East LA. I think from the very beginning, my mom said she knew that there was something special because My mom was pregnant. I was programmed to be born at the General Hospital in LA. And for people that know LA, that's like the hood hospital in East LA, in the heart of LA. However, my mom had some complications with me, and her doctor really had a really a liking to her, and her doctor happened to not be there that night and was at Mount Sinai, Cedar Side, which is where like the rich people are, the total opposite, right? This is like where Michael Jackson was at in his last days, where like other people from Beverly Hills go to. So, long story short, the doctor had my mom transferred over in a helicopter to give birth to me.
Oh, wow.
And I was born among, my mom says, among people that she was very intimidated because, you know, my mom, as I said, she was an immigrant farm worker that was brought here at a very young age. She was 15. Yeah, she said she was intimidated because it was all these glamorous women with gowns and all, and she was just like, "Where am I?" And she was actually lost for 2 days, like meaning from my dad and my family, because they didn't know where they had taken her. So fast forward, we moved to Bakersfield, which it is a farm worker like community in between Northern and Southern California. It's the main city is Bakersfield, but we lived in a little tiny town named Lamont. Again, both my parents were farm workers, and that's why we lived there. My parents picked the grapes that you eat, the fruit that you see at the supermarket so nicely. And I grew up among a lot of hustle, right? Like I tell people, my dad didn't know how to read and write. He still does not know how to read and write. But my mom did have other plans for us. So she divorced my dad when I was 13, and my brother was a little older, and left back to LA because she knew that she wanted to do different things. She wanted different opportunities for us. So we did go back to LA. My dad and my mom separated, and my dad stayed. And because he's a farm worker, he's been a farm worker and just retired as a farm worker not so long ago. And so I went back to LA. I had a lot of cousins there. It was great. You know, I went to junior high school there. I went to high school, but I've always would be like, I'm going to New York. I'm going to New York. I don't even know why, but that was my jam. So as soon as I graduated, I left to come to New York. I came to go to school. I started school, but I dropped out because work and life happened. I started working. I started doing things to get by. I lived in the Lower East Side, and then I got a job at Starbucks in Astor Place. You know Astor Place?
Yeah.
So quickly I got promoted from like barista to a supervisor to assistant manager. And at that point in my mind, you go to school to make money, right? So in my mind, I was like, I don't need to go back to school. I'm in school. So I dropped out my classes from NYU. I dropped out from my even dance classes that I was going to. And I focused on working and living life, you know, and so life happened. I hustled, I worked. I did a little bit of stuff around music, fashion, went to Miami, and in Miami, I worked for Starbucks, and I was a manager there, you know. So the great thing about working for Starbucks and getting up to a manager, that no matter where I moved, like I would get a job because they would just transfer me stores.
Yeah.
Being in Miami, I got exposed because that was in the early 2000s to the music industry, and that's when I started dabbling into like doing album release parties, promotions, marketing. I had a lot of friends that were promoters, but I still kept my job. And between that, I want to say between those 1996 and 2000, I went back and forth from here to living 6 months in Mexico with my mom, to coming back, to going to Miami, New York was home. So no matter where I went, I came back. Yeah, and you know, I was in Miami as a store manager and living what people would consider the life, living in South Beach, had a car, had my own apartment, was young, But then I realized, like, I want more. I went to a retreat for managers for Starbucks, and I saw there was a job opening, and the job opening was to be like a fair trade ambassador, meaning the person had to travel all over the world where Starbucks got coffee from to make sure that if there was fair trade, people were getting paid. There was clean water, there was no child labor, just to stay within like the justice of labor. So as you can see, that was like up my alley because of my upbringing, right? Because I saw all the injustice that happened with farm workers. I saw how hard my parents worked, how they were mistreated. I think that's where my social justice heart grew from being little and watching everything that I saw in the fields, and sometimes I worked. My parents didn't make me work, but I would work because I wanted to. Like even if it was like cutting up onions or garlics or the tails, because you would have to cut the tail in the back and fill up a bucket, and you would get like dollars per bucket. So I would get all excited as a kid. I tell people my parents never made me work. I wanted to work, I wanted to go. But anyway, so I applied for the job. And even though I had been working for the company for over 8 years, and my boss loved me, she thought, oh my God, I think you would be great and whatnot, but it requires a degree. And I was like, oh man. So I think I went home that day in Miami, in South Beach. I lived on Meridian and 17th, right by the beach. And I was like, I'm going back to school. So I went back to school, and I put in my 2-week notice. Everybody was like, what? I called my brother and I said, hey, I want to go back to school. He was excited because my brother was the first person in my family to go to school, and he went to school late as well, like a non-traditional student. He went to Harvard and he went to Middlebury College. And so at that time, he was with this partner who was also an academic, and they were both excited. So they're like, yes, come back. They lived in Brooklyn. They're like, you can stay with us. You settle in, you don't have to pay rent, blah, blah, blah. So came back, took some classes to finish the semester from NYU at BMCC. And then I started applying to transfer out, and I transferred to a non-traditional program called Francis Perkins in Mount Holyoke College in Massachusetts. And this was in my 30s, by the way. So I decided to go from making 100 and plus at Starbucks, having my own car and home, to a broke student. So yeah, and I went back to school. It was 3 years. It was at an all-women's college, where I met so many amazing women, where I got to take classes with young women, older women, married women. And I double majored in Latino studies with a focus of immigration, migration, and anthropology. I think it makes sense. If you know anthropology, it's like knowing cultures, understanding cultures. And I've always been very open to all cultures. And so I finished school, and I came back to New York. Before I finished school, I had a job offer. During school, I did a lot of stuff around advocating for immigrants, against racial profiling. I protested. I got arrested for protesting. I organized marches in school. I really dedicated myself to expressing my voice around injustice that was happening in our communities, and not just mine, not just Latina, not just immigrant, but LGBTQ, Black, Middle Eastern, and workers, because there's a lot of wage theft. And I share all this because obviously that leads into what I do now as my career. Right? And I was like the co-president of our organization called La Unidad in college, which is like the Latinas on campus, and Mecha is a chapter that's almost in most schools. I want to say 80% of universities, which is being conscious of being Latina, but also conscious of the political climate that comes with being Latina. It did start as a Chicano movement, but then it opened up. Obviously, we're all brown. Like we fight the same struggles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then it's so funny. I always say about social media, it could be your friend or it could be your enemy, right? I was posting all these things on Facebook before Instagram and, TikTok and all that got popular. It was Facebook, and I would protest out during the Trust Act. I participated in a radio show in Boston where we interviewed people around immigrant rights, worker rights. I did Know Your Rights presentations at the Mexican consulate, like different work like along those lines. So somebody that went to Harvard with my brother saw my work on Facebook and was like, "Hey, I have the perfect job for you. I think you should interview." I wasn't done with school yet, so I did all my interviews via Zoom. And yeah, I had a job before I even graduated. I actually started June 4th and I graduated in May, but I had the job beforehand. I just told them that I could start after. And that was at Sherman and Sterling, which is one of the top law firms in the world, and where I was the pro bono specialist and pro bono coordinator for almost 10 years.
Nice. Hold on. But before you continue, we will get more into that. But first thing first, thank you for sharing that, because I didn't even know all those. I didn't even know all that. So I learned so much just so early into the interview, and wow, and that's very inspiring. So thank you for sharing that, like for real. Thank you for sharing that. That really is dope. So thank you for that. But before we dive into the pro bono specialist stuff, how all that you've been through made you the person that you are today?
I mean, the struggles with my family, I at a very young age, I used to be called a wetback. So in my mind, I thought I was a wetback, which is a negative word used towards an immigrant, right? I don't know if you ever heard that word. It's very used in California. It means, your back is wet because you're crossing the border, the river, to get to the U.S. But that, I remember telling my mom, I guess, well, I'm a wetback. And I know, what do you mean? You were born here. So I feel like those early moments, like that one, made me realize, like, wait, I'm getting treated a certain way because of how I look or what my parents do for a living, right? And then, so being in the farms, seeing the raids, I personally saw when immigration would come in and just pick up people, throw them in like dogs into a van and be like, "We're taking you back," type of thing. And this is in the 70s, in the 80s. I mean, So what we're living now is not new. It's just done differently, right? Taking a lead to come to New York by myself and making the changes from being a student to working made me, I feel like it grew the hustler spirit in me, like I have to get it done. I knew that if I could call my mom and my dad, they might help me, because that's another thing, right? I didn't grow up poor. That's what I try to tell people when I try to say, well, no, I didn't grow up poor. We were never on welfare or like food stamps and stuff, because my parents always worked. But I grew up in a different type of space, because I grew up in a space where I was looked down upon because we were immigrants, because we were farm workers, right? But my mom always paid her rent. We always had food on the table, but I didn't see my parents. That was the exchange, right? I didn't get to spend a lot of time with my parents because my parents were always working, and they were working 13, 14, 15-hour days. And when they got home, as you can imagine, being out in the sun,
Yeah.
bending over, as like, what are you gonna do? Just come home and go to sleep. You're not dealing with your child. So shout outs to my brother who's 7 years older than me. He was like my dad, my mom, the person that took care of me. So I think having all that time with my brother also has made me who I am, because my brother is an amazing guy. And I don't say that because he's my brother, but like I told you, I think he kind of created the path for me. He left. He went to school. I have a dad that doesn't know how to read and write, and I have a brother that went to the best school in the world, which is Harvard. He has his own business, and he's an artist, and he's a hustler, and he was never broke because he always made sure everything was taken care of himself financially, spiritually. So I did have that example that I followed, right? And the hard work ethic from my parents. And I always tell people the bad moments are not to dwell for me personally, but they're work for me to get strength to be like, I'm not done. I still got more to do. I can take care of it. I could do it myself. But I'm also really big on community because I did discover along the way of all my ups and downs and quitting school, going back to school, being broke, not being broke, that community was important. Mm-hmm.
And sorry that you went through that. I do know that term. I did heard that term before, and yeah. But sorry you went through that. But you've been killing it, and you learn from what you've been through, and then you do an amazing thing now. So yeah. So thank you for sharing once again.
Yes.
So as you mentioned, you are a pro bono specialist. So what made you want to get into that, and how long you been doing it?
Okay, so as I was explaining earlier, the job kind of came to me, but based on what I had already been doing, right? Like seeking justice for our communities. I was doing that in college. I was doing that as my internships. One of my internships was at Centro Presente in Boston, who is an amazing organization who does work for immigrant rights and worker rights. Justice Jobs in Springfield, I was organizing protests with them in college. I was the Latino parent liaison for the local elementary school in Amherst, and Amherst, Massachusetts is a tricky town because it seems like everybody's rich there. But then at the same time, there's schools and stuff, like people work, right? And I started doing my investigation of like, who are the people that work here? Where do the kids go to school? So that's how I created that program. And so doing all that, I got the job kind of handed over, not introduced to me, not handed over, because I interviewed. I remember I had like 6 interviews, and it wasn't entry level at that point, but and it was meant for someone entry level deciding whether you want to do law school, whether you want to do public service, or like go corporate. However, because I was not your traditional college student, I had already experience of managing stores, managing people, managing life. My boss was like, wow, like, yeah, no, where are you going? Because it was supposed to be for 2 years, the position. So I interviewed, I got the job. I started June 4th, 2014. And pretty much it was a clear definition of what I always wanted to do, which is create access to justice, right? Create access to people who needed attorneys, who need legal assistance to do things that affect our lives. So then I was like mesmerized by the position because I had never heard of it. And even now when I talk to people don't understand my job. People don't know about it. And then people are like, wow, because I'm not an attorney. However, I run programs with attorneys, for attorneys. I know a lot of law. I know a lot of legal policies per state. So I went to Sherman and I was the pro bono specialist. Then I got promoted to pro bono coordinator. I was there for 9.5 years. It's a global firm, so I was exposed to coordinating pro bono work, which is pro bono matters. So they're like legal cases that our attorneys take to help communities that can't afford it. But it's not like someone calls us and says, "Hey, I can't afford an attorney." No, we work with nonprofit organizations like Legal Aids, like For Justice, and we help them. They're the real heroes. They're the ones that know the work, create safe space for the community, know what needs to be done. And my corporate attorneys are the ones that help because they're attorneys and they have a law license. So some of our attorneys have never been to immigration court, but through pro bono, they'll be able to go to immigration court and assist someone. So the relationship with the organization provides mentorship, training, and the tools that my corporate attorneys would need to do that kind of work. Right. So because our attorneys make banks richer, big companies richer, they're like corporate attorneys. So so when I was at Sherman, I loved it. I was based out of New York, but like I said, we coordinated for all our offices worldwide in the US. I go to conferences. I build relationships with other people that are doing my job for other law firms. But the big one is to make relationships and find the work that is suitable for our attorneys, whether it's small, micro, and entrepreneur business work. And just recently, like about maybe a year and 2 months ago, I had an amazing opportunity come to my door and literally come to my door. Their director came and spoke to me and was like, "I have a job for you." And no worries. I spoke to Sarah Lynn. Sarah Lynn is my boss at Sherman, and talked to her. And I got her blessings because this is going to be an amazing opportunity for you. And pretty much said, the job is yours if you want it. You will be the firm-wide senior pro bono coordinator.
Oh, wow.
And I guess one of the points I want to make is if you make it visible, it's not showing up, it's being visible of who you are. Because she said, "I've seen your work, I've seen you at conferences, I've seen you speak, like I know you're perfect for this job, like I don't have to interview you." And I've been there for a year and 2 months, and it's been amazing. Like I shared with you, I'm on my way to a conference in Lima, Peru, and I think it also benefits me that I'm a native Spanish speaker to be in some spaces because most of my colleagues don't speak Spanish, and that's and that's one thing I also take pride because back in the days the pro bono space was not very diverse. It was older white women, and now it's opening up, which is amazing, right? Because it's a space that I feel should be diverse, and we're slowly working on it. And my boss is a white woman that believes that too, and that's why she was so excited also to get me on board.
And I want to say, first thing first, congrats for that opportunity, because that's amazing, and hard work definitely does pay off. So that's amazing. Congrats to you, Juju. That's amazing. So, as a pro bono specialist, what have been your biggest achievement, and why is it important for helping people?
I believe so. I live by three things in life. I live the life God intended me to live. I love beyond my prejudices, so I love everyone. And I feel God commands me to serve. I am here to serve my community. So in church, I'm big on serving, on volunteering. I volunteer at food banks. A lot of this stuff, you probably won't know. I don't post it because it's not about that. It's about me. It's about what I feel I was brought on this world to do, what makes me feel good too. And I feel like I need to pay my rent for the time that God has given me to be here. With that said, I I think it's important to think about others, right? I think we're in an era now that people don't, I don't think I've ever had to seek volunteers. We always had too many volunteers, and lately it's kind of like, hey guys, we need volunteers. Like, what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And this is just in the like community service space, but in the legal field, I think it's important to acknowledge injustice, right? And like, if there is justice in place for a reason, there's law in place for a reason. So if I can be part of that, that will be like the only thing I wish to always be a part of, changing people's lives, hearing people. I'm the kind of person that if someone asks me to buy them food, I'm going to buy them food. I might not give you money, but food, like you can't deny someone food. But even more simpler, people sometimes say, that I always remember things and that I always ask. Like at church, my pastor says that all the older ladies love me because I always come back 2 weeks later and be like, "Oh, how did your grandchild do in her medical test?" And then they're saying that people don't do that no more. That they don't really listen. That you need, when you ask someone how you doing, are you really interested in knowing how they're doing, or are you just saying that because you think it's common courtesy to just say how you doing, right? So, I mean, as a pro bono specialist coordinator, I think there's so many individual stories, but I think the grander piece of it, like I still have women that seek me out to say hi, how are you, that I helped with getting their green cards, that were like human trafficking victims, sex trafficking victims, that were vulnerable enough to share their story with me. And I happen to be part of the case because, again, I'm a Spanish speaker. So even though I'm not an attorney, I help as the interpreter. And it's sweet because they become more comfortable with me, that I'm not their attorney, than with their attorney, because I pride myself on connecting with people on all levels, and I feel like we don't do enough about talking about ourselves. And I recently learned to say, my superpower is to connect to the very rich, snobbish, rude, to the poor, to the middle class, to the gangster at the projects. Like, that is my superpower, because I just feel like we are all community. We're all people. So I think one of my biggest, I guess one of the big one that hit my heart was, we had a client that was in prison for 20 years and was supposed to do life, possibly even get death penalty. And a team of attorneys from our San Francisco office reopened their case through an organization called Innocence Project. And we're able to prove that he was like, he was not the guy that killed and raped this woman, that he was innocent. But imagine 20 years had already been taken away from his life. Like, I don't know. I didn't know what to do, because I was so excited for him, but I was also so emotional for him, because all his youth was spent in a prison for something he didn't do. Right? He comes out of prison, he's offered, he doesn't have a wife or kids, and he's older because all his 20s he was in prison, right? But it was beautiful, and I guess I can say that's one of the moments that I felt amazing, to be part of that team, to be part of that effort to helping this innocent man to get out of prison.
Yeah, and once again, thank you for sharing, and thank you for using your superpower to come on this show to share your story, because you are doing amazing things, and I'm happy that you're here to share your stories and that you help the community. Everybody does need help, and I love that you're doing that. So thank you for sharing that and doing what you do. Like, shout out to you, for real.
Thank you.
But you do a lot, and I got to shout out to you for that. you also have a business called Juju J Production. So my question to you is, what is Juju J Production? How the idea came together, and what was your goal to doing this, making this platform?
Sure. So I don't know if you remember, but I was sharing how like I had a little bit of experience with exposure to
Yeah,
music, to fashion in Miami, and then I continued work, and I was managing a hip hop artist from Sweden, and I've always loved music. I've always loved hip hop. Like I'm a hip hop head, like people are like, "Oh my God, you are," especially because they think because I'm a female, right? A lot of people are like, "What?" And I like fashion, so but also when the initial reason I started Juju J Productions was because I wanted to create a space to do events for women. That was initially the reason why. So as I was in at Sherman, I got invited to be part of a lot of groups like Elevate. They were like professional groups, and I realized there wasn't a lot of women of color. And I was like, oh, I wonder why. So my first I guess thought of this was I want to create these spaces where women of color can come together, network, share their experiences, share their journey on how they got into being a lawyer, how they got into being a hip hop artist, how in all these different spaces. So the first thing that Juju J Productions produced after becoming an official LLC business was a brunch series called Her Journey. So that brunch series of Her Journey was a space for women to come together, like I explained. And the first one was like women in law, and it was really cool. I had four panelists, and all the women were, one was a law student about to finish law school, one was like a corporate attorney, one was a nonprofit attorney, one was on her way to being a judge. So it just showed the journey. And what was even amazing was like, one of them was kind of like, I didn't want to be a lawyer. I just had the right mentor that pushed me to go to Columbia. And now she's like this big time corporate attorney doing amazing things, and how it takes that one person. So those stories, though, I feel are important to share among us, right? To motivate us, to know that if you want to change career at 35, like I did, at 40, like some of them did, that you can. And also to cross network, that if you sell candles, I buy candles, let me buy the candles from you and not Best Buy, I always say, people always complain how there's not enough this or not enough Latinas in this space or this, but we have to change it. We have to change the narrative ourselves. We can't ask for it. Who's going to give you something? No one, right? So that it started there. And then I started doing like social media content for other like events, because they saw how my events were being so successful and how they were curated. They weren't just having an event. There was purpose in everything, from the space, who owned the space, to who got invited, to the panelists, to the sponsors. There was this cohesiveness of women of color power, right? So I think everybody started seeing that, so they started asking if we can help with their events. And then my partner, she's an amazing writer. Well, my friend who used to partner up with me on another business, I brought her in to help me on Juju J Production. But we started doing things like press kits for up and coming artists, because I had experience with that. Or we started doing release parties, like book launches and events. But with that, I also launched my brother's magazine, Telegat, which is online, but also we have hard copy. We do a hard copy once a year on online, monthly, and that's a luxury travel magazine. And I am the one that like does all the administrative work and the back end of it. He's the one that works with the photographer, travels around the world, takes all the content and whatnot. So Teleguest is the biggest project that Juju J Production houses because it is very successful at this moment. And we do work with like the Ritz Carltons, the Four Seasons of the world, all over the world. And so that's one thing that JJJ Productions is part of. And then we also got into production work, right? Like small documentaries. And the first documentary we put out was the making of Hood Republic Outfitters, which is a clothing line that I was part of, but now have stepped back and now I just consult for them. But at the beginning I was part owner. And we did a documentary that you can find on their site. It's hoodrepublicoutfitters.com. And the documentary pretty much follows the owner and creator and then me at the end, a little bit about me and how I came into his project. And my company produced it, put it together, shot it. And now we are about to put out an actual film called Agency, written and produced, starring my brother. So we're really excited about that. Maybe summer. My brother just came back from Lithuania because we worked with some people out there to do the production cleaning of the film. And yeah, so that's pretty much what Juju J Productions, as it says, productions. I think we started as producing events, producing content, to now producing films and documentaries and magazines. And I'm excited because it's a space where I can still be connected to music, to fashion, to hip hop, to those elements that I love, and always community. Because everything we do, there's a community component, whether we're like at our women events, we raise money or collect toiletries for like an all woman organization, or there's always like a community component to it. Like, for instance, I'm running a half marathon in May and the full marathon for my first marathon ever in the fall, which is the New York Marathon. And I will be raising money for Iraq, Immigration Arc, or Immigration Rights. And it's an organization that helps all the immigration organizations in New York. So I'm excited because I'll be running and asking friends and family to donate, and hopefully we can raise some money, especially now that there's a lot of federal funding being cut from work that needs to be done. So yeah. And Juju J Productions has an event coming up in April. We have one, it's for women. It's called Women in Wellness. It's in collaboration with another young woman in her company that does experiences. So I'm excited. It's the first time we're partnering up with someone to do a female event. And then in June, we will have the very first His Journey. Which is a spin-off off of Her Journey. I think a lot of men show it's actually enlightening, because I had a lot of men tell me, hey, I love these events you do. Well, what about us men? And I was like, you know what? You're right. So I'm hoping to put on a panel of amazing men to share their journey and have a space so men can network. And also to bring along, I had shared with you a poet that I've been working with, that we helped put his book out. It's called Motats. It's really cool. It's a working class man from New York that is a poet, and we did a launch for him a couple of years ago, and we're doing a relaunch and having him be like one of the prime speakers at His Journey, because he's getting ready to write his second book. Mm-hmm.
Well, first thing first, you are killing it with Juju J Production. I didn't know about you do a documentary, but that's amazing. And shout out to you for the hard work that you put in. Keep doing amazing things. Yeah, we already covered everything about Her Journey brunch, but yeah, that's amazing. Keep doing the thing. And I'm looking forward to the men one, because I'm definitely going to come through to that. And
Yeah.
I want to announce it here. We will have the poet on the show for a future episode of Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. So stay tuned for that. And once again, thank you for that, Mr. Juju. Thank you for that. That's amazing. Keep doing amazing thing. And we'll check out the magazine as well. Cause I never got a chance to check it out. I definitely will check it out. Cause I gotta support you. You're doing amazing thing. I'm proud of you. I'm gonna say I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Especially for somebody I know that you grinding. So I gotta say I'm proud to you. So you just mentioned this a little bit. So one thing you also not only passionate about music, but you're also passionate about health and fitness. And you just mentioned you about to do a marathon. With congrats to you on that as well. So how is taking care of your health very important? I mean, why is taking care of your health important?
Oh my God. So I'm a big advocate for this because I myself have struggled with taking care of me. It's so funny because I used to always say, I love me. And I probably did. And I probably did love what was in the mirror and who I was. But then one time I had a moment where like, wait, do I really love me? Because am I really thinking about what I'm doing to my body, what I'm putting in my body? And that's when I had a moment of like, oh my God, it's so important to take care of you. It's part of self-love. It's not just saying it. It's what you're doing it, right? We always tell other people, don't tell me you love me, show me you love me. So that's the same thing with yourself, right? Don't tell yourself you love yourself. So, I've been as heavy as 230 pounds and as light as 140 and everything in between. And then I came to a space now that I am not skinny, but I'm not overweight, but I'm healthy. And that's what matters, that when I go to the doctor, I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have high sugar. I don't have high cholesterol. Why? Because I now exercise. I find time to exercise. I find time to run. Run became one of my favorite things to do because I don't think run makes me lose weight, but it makes me strong. And mentally, I think it's my place of like mental health, right? It's where I talk to myself. It's where I listen to myself, especially when you're running more than 2-3 miles. You get in this zone where you motivate yourself and you tell yourself you can do this, especially like because I am not a size 0. I impress myself sometimes that I'm like, oh, I just did 10 miles. Like, wow, I feel like superwoman. So it's part of like your whole, right? Like when we say body, mind, and soul, it kind of creates a space that you don't stress. I don't stress about things. I just get things done. I feel good. I choose what and mind you, I also say it's not like, oh, you shouldn't eat this, you shouldn't drink. No, everything in moderation too, right? And I think when I was in college, since I went to an all-girls school, I realized like I noticed something. Like we were in a little town in the middle of nowhere called South Hadley. 3,000 women, nothing to do but milk cows and go to school, which is good because you focus on school. But I realized the girls, especially because I was older, the younger girls, that, oh my God, they weren't taking care of themselves. They were eating too much because we had way too much food in these food cafeterias. They weren't working out. And they were stressed out about getting A's and writing 50, 100-page papers. So one day I actually did a wellness festival and I got a lot of departments to give me money to put it together because I brought in a Zumba instructor, a fitness instructor, a nutritionist who spoke about you can be an unhealthy size 2 and you can be a healthy size 14. About how, because in my mind, my pitch to all the departments that gave me money and they didn't even think twice was, hey, you're preparing us to go out in this world to be successful CEOs, film makers, shakers, and trailblazers. But what about our health? Like, what does that mean if we get there sick? If we get there with diabetes? If we get there with being obese? Like, that's not going to mean anything. Like, we should incorporate how important it is to balance, to take care of ourselves, to be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor and our hard work, right? Because
Yeah.
what happens if you run yourself down and yeah, you're a CFO or CEO making $300,000, $500,000 a year if you're sick, right? If you have to be putting insulin in you because you have diabetes, or
Yeah.
if you can't get up to play with your daughter because you're too tired because your energy's down, so all the departments gave me money because they are like, you're right. So that was my starting point of focusing on that, and that being part of me whenever I get asked to speak. I got asked to speak at a retreat in Puerto Rico, at like many women empowerment events. I talk about being a businesswoman, having practically two businesses, because I am Telegas's CFO, meaning everything administrative and financial, but I am the CEO of my company of Juju Productions, right? So and then people are like, oh, but I always see you being social. You're out at brunch, you're out dancing with your girlfriends, you're out running, taking a Zumba class. I said, because if you do these things that make you happy and give you balance, you will do better at your job. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel tired. I feel like I get more energy from doing all these things. And another thing I always, when I mentor a lot of young women, and I tell them, like, body wise, if you love what you see in the mirror, that's what matters. Whether you're a size 15, whether you're a size 3, but you have to be okay with it. Not anybody. And if you're not, then there's things to do. Lose weight. And if you are, then ignore what people got to say, because I feel like many definitions in this world, the definition of beauty is different for everybody, as long as you own it and you know it.
And I see you do a lot of your workout videos and stuff like that, and you look amazing. So keep doing anything. And I can relate to this heavy because last year I was way bigger than I was. I went to the doctor and I found out, my high blood pressure was high, my cholesterol was very high. It was like high risk high. So I made it to me to really change my everything, my workout, my eating habits and everything. And fast forward to now, I lost like over 47 pounds, and
wow, that's amazing. That's great.
Yeah, and I'm way healthier and stuff like that. And it's literally been a year now, so it's literally been a year. So so when you say that, like, I completely understand, and yeah, it's very important to take care of your body, and like just like I would take care. I wasn't really focused on it, but then when I touched reality, that went like, yeah. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Cause
body, mind, and soul. I'm big on all three. Whether it's reading a book, going to church, if you're not religious, finding different outlets. I think people have gotten very jaded with social media and certain things that you don't allow yourself to feel your soul, right? Like, what makes you happy? I love flowers. I take the time to go buy flowers for myself, things for you.
Yeah, and once again, thank you for sharing that, because everybody should really take their health really serious. So this next question, I ask all my guests this because everybody seems to have a different answer when I ask this question. So as you know, we are in a pandemic. I guess where we are now is crazy. So my question to you is, how had the pandemic affect you, and what did you learn from it?
Oh my God, I don't know if people want to hear my answer, because I always kept it to myself because I didn't want to be, what's the word? What's the word? Well, not compassionate, because I'm a compassionate person, right? And the reason I say that is because pandemic did me very good. I lost a lot of weight because I focused on doing PRX at home. It kept me sane. I did 2 workout a day. I would go out for walks in the morning. I was cooking all my food. I was not drinking any alcohol at all. It was the opposite of most people. People would be like, oh, let's have happy hour via Zoom. But For some reason, I'm a social drinker. I'm not a drinker to get drunk and go to sleep. I'm a drinker to
Yeah.
have fun and socialize. So who am I socializing at home with? No one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I learned that about myself too, that I was a social drinker because I was not really interested in drinking while being at
Yeah.
home. That means I saved a lot of money because I'm a very social person and would spend money on drinking, on going out. So
Yeah.
my bank account got fatter. I got slimmer, and I spent a lot of time with my family that I would never normally not do because I was privileged, honored, and thankful
Mm,
that my job said you can work from home wherever home is as long as you have Wi-Fi.
mm,
So my boss is like, home is Mexico, baby, because your mom is there. So as long as you have Wi-Fi, go be with your family.
mm,
So it was amazing to spend all that time with my mom and my brother, which we had not in a long time. And we traveled a bit down south of Mexico. So that was nice. And yeah, I just feel like to me, it was a moment. I think it just led into where I am now,
mm.
into me taking care of myself more, into me taking time to spend at home to cook more. I cook more now. Like now I really don't like eating out because I think during pandemic I learned to cook so many things that I'm like I like my own food, which is better for your wallet, but also for your body because you know what you're cooking in, what you're adding, if it's old or not old. Sometimes you don't know how old the food is when you eat out, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it got me closer to God because I was like more praying. I've always been going to church. I go to First Corinthian Baptist Church in Harlem since 2013. But I think it just put me in a space of me, as selfish as that sounds,
Yeah.
because I had never been about me. It was always about my brother, my mom, my friends, my boyfriend at that moment, the drama, it was so much going on that pandemic put me in a space of like, you need to put your mask first before you put everybody's mask on. And
Yeah.
it
Yeah. Yeah.
stuck. And it stuck and you can see it. I'm in an amazing space mentally, physically, and spiritually. I got a new place after the pandemic that I love. I lived in a place in Harlem that I wasn't so happy, and I realized after I got out of it that it made such a difference in my aura because it was falling apart. It was rent control, but I was always fighting with the landlord because something needed to be fixed and he didn't want to fix it. And he wanted to take me to court. And I'm like, I don't got time for that. I'm in a brand new building now in Jersey City, where everything's brand new and it's amazing and it's a luxury. I don't know. I could go on and on because I think pandemic for me and unfortunately for me and unfortunately for others, I didn't lose anybody to corona. I feel bad because I do know people that did lose a parent, a family
Yeah.
member.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't. If anything, like I said, my mom got healthier because she had less things to do, so she focused more on exercising with me, eating healthier with me. So yeah, but what it did teach me, and I think it taught everybody, and if they didn't, knock knock, was you have to seize the moment. You have to
Yeah.
enjoy the now. Forget
Yeah.
about the yesterday and don't worry about tomorrow. Like take time to really take in today.
Yeah.
Like I meditate. Oh, that's another thing I didn't do before. I meditate now in the morning,
Mm,
even if it's 10 minutes, just to connect and say, thank you, God. I'm awake today.
yeah.
What is
Yeah.
today? How are we going to make today great? I always say on my Instagram, do something that makes you smile from the inside
Yeah.
out
You does. Yeah. You does. Yeah.
because it's like really smile. What do you really? I have a guy friend that I'm like, what are you doing for yourself? Well, I'm not. No, you're saying you're taking your daughter to. What are you doing for you? You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty much my after effect of pandemic
Mm.
was take care of me, love the people that I love, and enjoy the day for the day.
Yeah, and I like everybody did have different experiences. Some was positive, some was negative. Mine was mix of both. But yeah, but it did talk all of us about no take like live in the moment and one day at a time, and yeah. But also, what we're going on with all of us is a lot of us deal with a lot of mental health as well during the pandemic, or in general with recent events and everything. So, why is mental health so important to talk about?
It is very important, especially in our communities of like color, Latinos and Black
Yeah.
and Indian and Asian, because culturally, in those cultures that I mentioned, it is only for crazy people. The stigma
Mm,
says so, right? But
yeah.
it's not. When I went away to college, that I took on counseling, and because I was feeling bad because I was leaving behind my job to go be a student when I had a mom that I was helping financially, when I had a dad that I could help, when I had a brother that was going through a really hard breakup from a long term relationship. So, and I'm over here thinking, oh, and I'm going away to school right? So I was feeling all kinds of guilt. So a friend of mine was like, well, I think you should go to counseling and it's free at school. So I went and I realized it was the best thing I could have done because it didn't only help with me going processing that it was not guilt, that it's okay to think of you first and everyone after, but it also helped me set boundaries. It helped me do things that I didn't know and my parents didn't know because they weren't taught. So
Yeah.
sometimes you learn, it's not like like the shrink or the counselor is telling you what to do. You discover it yourself in the process. With that said, a lot of us come from homes that are one parent, that were abusive, that were struggling with food and even staying in a home. So we think because it's left back there, we're not carrying it, right? But sometimes we do carry it until we learn to forgive it, process it, and heal from it. And the only way we're going to do that is through counseling. And sometimes
Agree.
you don't have to go to a counselor or a psychiatrist. Sometimes I do a lot where I speak to my pastor because my pastor does counseling, and I think for women, we talk more with our girlfriends about things than men. So
Yeah.
I'm very big on telling men like it is okay because you're not going to sit with your guy dude the way women do to be like, I feel this way because of the way my dad treated me when I was 7. It's not going to happen for men the way we do. Women, we have more outlets,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
men. And that's why it's even more important. And I think when pandemic hit, which is what, 3 days from now when they decided to close the country, remember it was
Yeah.
March 17th, I think.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I was in I was in Ireland and my brother was like, you need to get on a plane. They just announced they closed all the airports beside the only ones open are London and Ireland. And I was like, oh my God, yeah. And on my way to the airport, the leader from Ireland said, we should be careful how we deliver things because this is happening now, but we're going to deal with the outcomes later in
Mm,
obesity, in mental issue. And it was the only place I heard it. I didn't hear it
oh
here. I
wow.
didn't hear it any. And that was at the beginning when
Mm,
she almost said like, I forbid the media to report out like in panic because
yeah. Yeah.
we need to take care of each other's mental, you know?
Agree. Yeah. Agree. And I like to talk about this on my show now because it's very important. I ask all my guests this question, and I dealt with it too. So thank you for sharing that because it's a really important topic to talk about. And thank you for sharing. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
thank you for asking. I think it is a very important piece, and I want to thank you because you have this space. You are a man,
Yeah.
and you are a man of color, and I feel like the more we get comfortable with talking about it, the more like our community is going to benefit from it.
Agree. Agree. So once again, thank you for sharing, Miss Juju. Thank you for sharing. But let's get back to more positive stuff, more positive things. Yeah, that was happy. That was happy. Yeah. So, what is your dream venture? Something that you always want to do.
What do I want? Like, as in career or just in general? Like,
In general, and I know you already done a lot. So let's think harder than answer.
I know. I'm like, what do I want to do? I don't know. I'm looking forward to retirement because I want to travel without having to worry to come back to work. I travel a lot. And I love to travel. I think that's my guilty pleasure. Like I'm not into having purses and shoes in my closet or, like most women are. Like I'm not into stuff. I'm into experiences. I'm into spending money on nice dinners with my friends, on going to the museum and on traveling the world because I feel like when we leave this earth, we're not taking any of that stuff. But I feel like the memories in our soul are coming with us.
Yep. Agreed.
So I think the one thing I am looking forward to is that, and possibly one thing I'm hopeful for is that I go to the Golden Globes or the Oscar with one of these films that we're putting together.
Oh, nice. That would be really fire. I really hope that happens for you. I really hope that happens for you. So I know you already spoke about a lot already, but do you got anything else going on that you had not spoken about yet? Any other projects that you had not spoken about yet?
I think at the moment, no. I mean, we have another hard copy Teleguest magazine coming out. I'm really excited because my brother is going to be on the cover for the first time with other
Nice.
people from the travel industry. It's a tool by the luxury travel community for the luxury travel community. Like I said, it's online. It's teleguest.com. And but we do hard copies, 1 or 2 a year, and we do parties. So we're doing a party in Mexico City, one in Miami, and one in New York. And we invite people from the travel industry, like travel designers, travel owners, hotel owners, company owners. So we do have one magazine right now as we speak being produced. That's always exciting and a headache because there is a lot of work, as you see sometimes in these shows and movies, the whole production of like Vogue magazine, it is exactly like that. There's revisions and errors, and you still get an error in the color. And my brother's hands-on. He actually goes to our printing space that is in Mexico to make sure like the colors are right, the texture, the quality of the magazine is at the quality that we want it. So right now we're really busy with that, but it's exciting. And like I said, no, I just have those 2 events that I'm planning for. So I think the announcements for the woman event should be coming out in the next 2 weeks because it will be the first weekend of April. And then the men's stuff will probably start promoting at the end of this month into April. Because that won't be into June. I was going to have it before, but I figured June would be great because it's Father's Day month. And it'll be a great space to celebrate the fathers as well, too. I think we've really evolved into recognizing that too, and recognizing men and fathers and having these spaces because we've done it for women. I think it's important to do it for men too.
And I'm looking forward to the men one. Make sure I definitely will come through to let me know on that, and I'll be there. So what do you have to say for anybody going the same route you as a pro bono specialist and owning the business, everything? Like say something inspirational.
I guess like I said, if I want to leave you with the 3 words I shared. I think that you need to live the life that, for me, it's God, but for you, whatever it is that is intended for you to live. Meaning, do what makes you happy, what makes you smile from the inside out. Love beyond your prejudice, meaning love all people. We don't have time for hate. And check on your neighbor, and if you can donate, if you can volunteer at a soup kitchen, if you can help your friend that's having a rough day and be like, I got $20 for you, like, here you go. Like those, or call your friend. How about that? We're so big into social media and texting. No, pick up the phone and be like, hey, friend, how are you? We need to get back to that human connection, So love beyond your presence, and serve. Like, I'm really big on find your cause. Maybe your cause is not mine, like immigrant rights, Black Matter, Lives Matter, LGBTQ. No, but maybe animal rights is your thing, and maybe artists are your thing. There's BLA, an organization in New York for artists that helps starving artists do things because they can't afford to have an attorney to read their contract. Do something that brings your vibrations higher. Always work on bringing your vibrations high, because if you're on high vibrations, then everything intended for you will happen. And I think one thing I connect through my personal life, my health journey, my Juju Productions, my being a pro bono coordinator specialist, and life is community. I love community, can't be without community, and will always give back to community.
Yes, that's amazing. And thank you for sharing. So before you go, we're going to play a segment game called 5 Random Topics. We're actually 5 random topics, and you give me a short or long response. And don't worry, I'll be joining in with you as well.
Okay.
So are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. So the first question is, who is your favorite R&B artist right now?
Oh my God. I don't have any right now, new ones. I love Jodeci. However, you know what? Maybe it's because I'm also not, I don't listen to the radio. I know that's bad, right? And I know there's 1 or 2 songs that I hear from especially female artists, but I probably don't know their names, right? Like I know Ziza, or what, how do you say it?
SZA.
Yeah, I like her, and I feel she's a little bit of everything, a little bit of R&B, a little bit of pop. I like her,
For me, I mean, I like a lot of old school raw R&B as well. But there was one artist that caught my attention recently. I mean, of course, SZA is one of them, but this guy named Leon Thomas.
Oh yeah.
He got a song called Mutt, and I think Bob Don't Lie. I like him so far. He actually a pretty dope R&B artist. Mm-hmm. And also, he used to be on Nickelodeon as well back in the day. So
really?
Yeah, I think he was on the show called Victorious. I never really watched the show, but I heard about him. So yeah, and he even writes SZA song too. Snooze. So yeah, he's talented.
Yeah, I heard him.
Yeah. All right. So my next one is, what is your favorite romantic movie?
My favorite romantic movie. Oh, Just Right, with Common and Queen Latifah.
That's a good movie. Yeah, shout out to Common, by the way.
Yeah, it was his birthday yesterday.
Yeah, shout out to Common. He actually a dope artist. He's dope on rap, dope hip hop artist. My favorite romantic. I'm gonna say romantic comedy. I'm gonna say Hitch.
That's cute. Yeah, cute. Oh, now I want to watch it. I haven't seen that in a long time.
It's been a while. It's been a while too. It's been a while for me too. So what's your favorite fruit?
My favorite fruit? Oh my God, that's a hard one. I love fruit. You know that I feel like someone had asked me one time in an interview, one thing you can't live without. I said fruit, because like I said, I grew up with in a farm working community, so I always had the best grapes and strawberries and oranges, But I would have to say mango. Because I like mango in everything. Like I like mango smoothies. I like it in fruit. Like I made salmon the other night and I put mango and onions and grilled it, and it was I would say mango.
I like fruits as well a lot. I eat fruits a lot more now, but if I have to say, I'm gonna say grapes. Always been a fan of grapes. Like all the colors grapes. I like grapes.
Yeah, I grew up eating so many grapes.
I can relate too. All right, so my next one is, what's your favorite holiday?
Oh, I'm a cheese ball. I like what is birthdays a holiday? No. I love everybody's birthdays, not just mine. Like my friends always say that they've never had a friend like me. Like especially my guy friends, they said they've never had anyone celebrate them the way I do. Like I like doing the cake and the surprise. And one time I had my friend Shamar, like I actually did a surprise gathering for him at sleep with all my friends. And he was like, who does that? But till this day, he's never forgotten it. Because I baked cupcakes for him, and I bought a table with food and a bottle, and I had like 10 of my friends, and we all got drunk and had fun and celebrated him. And that was like 8 years ago. Until this day, he tells me no one's ever done that for him, not even himself for himself, you know? And so I like birthdays, but I guess if I had to pick a holiday, it'd be Day of the Dead. I love Dia de los Muertos, which is during the Halloween area time. It's a Mexican, well, it's a Latino holiday, but it is more celebrated in Mexico.
Okay, got it. I think I did hear about that holiday too.
Yeah, well, if you see the movie Coco from Disney,
okay, got it.
That's based on Day of the Dead. And people think it's, oh my God, satanic. No, if you really read into it, it's a celebration of celebrating the people that passed on. It's to connect. So for me, I do my little altar with my two grandmas who I had a really good relationship with, my grandpas, and I put out their favorite snacks, a Coca-Cola, because they all loved Coca-Cola, the bottled one, candles, flowers, and I just talk to them and celebrate them and invite them in, and that's what that day is for.
That's nice. I would say birthday was, but then my birthday always been mixed, good and bad, so I'm not gonna say birthday, but my favorite holiday, I'm gonna say Christmas because of the holiday activities. I don't like winter, but I like winter activities like ice skating and all the other stuff and decoration and stuff like that. And of course, family too. So family is a big thing too. And yeah, I like Christmas. All right, and my last question is, who do you feel is the most underrated rapper?
Oh my goodness. Underrated?
Like someone who deserves their flowers more than they get, basically.
Well, I don't know if I would say underrated, but I think a rapper that a lot of people don't know of unless they're in that kind of rap style is KRS-One, right? I feel unless you're a real hip hop head and you're a rapper, you know about him and how long he's been around, and how just because now he's doing like certain things, you're like, ooh, no, he's been around for a long time. And the same thing with like Immortal Technique, right? Like he's been around and does community stuff. So I think based on their persona and their craft, those two, I would say, people are underrated in a way, not because they're underrated of their work, but they're not as known or as glorified as they should be, because I think they're pretty amazing. And they are great lyricists and great activists and great representation of what hip hop is, you know?
That's good answers. I know for me, it always say D2 rappers, and a lot of people don't have them on their list for some reason. But they're on my list of top 10 best rappers. One of them is your boy, actually. LL Cool J and Common. I feel like they deserve their flowers way more. They've done a lot for the rap hip hop community, and I feel they deserve their flowers way more to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think Common stayed in this neutral space because there was a moment when he was Common Sense that he was a little bit more hard and vulgar, and then when he kind of really tapped into his artivism side, you know, his artist and activist at the same time. He decided to not rap about certain things, so then he kind of got stuck in the middle in regards to fan base, right? They didn't know where, like, wait, he used to use the word X and B and C, and now he's talking about save the people and my people. Like, however, I think that's what made him great, that he was able to stay around for so long and use his power to do what he's doing. And if you listen this is where people get lost. People get lost in the hook and the madness of the songs now. But if you listen to the actual lyrics, there's so much depth in what Common is saying in all
It
of
is.
the
It is.
songs. There's
It
a
is. No, it is.
story, there is power. Like when I went to the Roots picnic last year, and Method Man and Redman brought out Black Thought and Common, and they were just all like rapping, like off the top of their head. And I was like, this is what people are not like
Exactly. Yeah.
recognizing, but you're recognizing someone like 6ix9ine whatever and
Exactly. Yeah.
little
Exactly.
this and little that because they have
Exactly.
catchy hooks, but
Yeah.
it's not the art. It's not what hip hop is.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I say they deserve their flowers, and LL Cool J too. And that's up because LL Cool J just came out with a new album last year, and barely nobody listened to it. I heard
Well, I
it was really
know.
dope. Yeah, but one thing I would say also, both of them is really pretty dope actors too, though.
Yeah.
Common and LL, both of them is good actors. So yeah, but
Yeah, yeah, that's what I like too, that they were able to like cross over into
yeah,
acting and make some really good, memorable movies
I
and
did. Yeah,
other stuff. Like Common has written a few books and they're
yeah, yeah,
really
yeah,
good. The last one was really good. He says like us taking care of ourselves healthy wise, like health wise, is a revolutionary movement because the world, or more like the white man in the US, doesn't want us to take care of ourselves. They want us to
yeah,
eat fried chicken
yeah, yeah,
and coke and down it with a 40, and that's the plan, right? But
yeah,
when we
yeah,
actually take care of ourselves and watch what we eat and work out, we are part of that revolutionary, or like that self-love revolutionary.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And thank you for that. And Miss Juju, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you
No,
for
thank you.
sharing. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing everything. I'm proud of you. I do know you. I'm proud of you, and you're doing
Thank
amazing
you.
things, and you deserve your flowers. So, but I thank you for coming to the platform, and thank you for sharing everything, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm excited that we finally connected and we talked. And I am also very proud of you. I always see you on the hustle doing your thing. So keep it up and keep creating these spaces that we need for each other.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for that. And before you go, drop your social media where everybody can reach you, and drop where everybody can check out all your stuff that you're doing from
Sure.
the
I mean,
production and everything.
okay, yeah, no, go to my page, which is JU underscore JAY underscore JU. So it's Juju underscore J underscore Ju. And there you will see in my bio, and you'll see the Teleguest handle, you'll see the Juju J Productions handle, and you'll see the Juju Closet handle. So definitely, I think the one to go to is at JU underscore JAY underscore JU. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. And now also say about when the next two brunches events
Yes,
coming.
stay tuned. If you go on the at Juju J Productions Instagram, you'll see that in April we will have our Women in Wellness brunch, and then in June we will have the His Journey brunch. So hopefully I see you guys there. We always have a great turnout, great vendors, great speakers, and a great organization that we donate money to. So definitely stay tuned. And I'm hoping to have like other events. I know we've gotten a request to have a singles and mingles. We had one a few years ago called Her Journey to Love, and it was very successful. So we hope to have another one this year.
That would be dope. And Juju will possibly be back in a future episode along with the poet that we will have on the show in a future episode. So look out for that. Thank you, and we'll be right back. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman. Now, I am the host of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, and this commercial break is brought to you by Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents Spinoff Series Thursdays. And Spinoff Series Thursday is the new home for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast Spinoff Series. that brought to you shows like A Conversation About Music Podcast, The Old School Show, and Date Night Talk Podcast. And A Conversation About Music Podcast is a music spin-off series where we talk about anything music, from the current music scene and the old school music scene, where we interview many guests that's in the music industry and artists about their music journey. We have a segment game called The Face Off, which is a versus inspired game, and we have roundtable discussion about variety of music topics. And y'all can check out A Conversation About Music Podcast every first Thursday at 12 a.m. Every first Thursday at 12 a.m. Now, the Old School Show that features myself and the star Roddy Rod is a show where we discuss anything old school, from music, TV shows, movies, and many more. We also bring in guests to join in on the old school conversation. Y'all can check out the Old School Show with myself and the star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. Every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And last but not least, we have Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Bono B, where we talk about anything relationship related topics like love, dating, relationships, cheating, the good and the bad, and many more. And y'all can check out this spin-off series, Date Night Talk Podcast, every second and third Thursday at 12 p.m. So look out for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast Presents spin-off series Thursday, A Conversation About Music Podcast every first Thursday. The Old School Show with myself and the star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursdays, and Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursdays. And y'all can check out Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays for the main series, and every Thursday for spin-off series Thursdays. And thank y'all for checking out this commercial break. And now back to your regularly scheduled program. I just want to take the time to thank everybody for tuning into this latest episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank you to my special guest, Juju, for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for the amazing conversation. Thank you for telling me about her journey, Juju J Production, and everything that you do. I am proud of you, especially because I know you and continue to do amazing things. And I can't wait to bring you back on Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You can check us out on every Sundays for the main series, every Thursday for spin-off series Thursday, where we have shows like A Conversation About Music Podcast, new season starting in June, and every first Thursday at 12 p.m. Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Ms. Vanna B. New season start on April 10th, and every second and third Thursday at 12 p.m. And the Old School Show with myself and the star Roddy Rod. New season starting in June, and every fourth Thursday at 12 p.m. And coming this fall, we will have the newest spin-off series Thursday show, Top 20 Countdown Show, the series with myself and Jalen, starting in September. And look out for all of the new spin-off series lineup coming soon. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, and many more. Y'all can rate the show 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, and Podchasers. The more y'all rate the show, more people know about Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at Ken, a.k.a. Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Ken, a.k.a. Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You can check out Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast TV. You can check out the audio version of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You can check out Mr. Gentleman Fact Quote Today and many more. We got more things coming to the YouTube channel. So subscribe to us and look out for some new stuff on the YouTube channel. If you want to be a guest on Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, send me a bio about yourself and everything that you do to my email, KenYPGENT@gmail.com, or hit me up on social media, Ken_Mr. Gentleman. I repeat, Ken, KEN _Mr. MR Gentleman, GENTLEMAN, and we can set something up. I am taking guests for season 9 of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, which will be announcing the season 9 release date on the season 8 finale of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. You can also check me out on the Premier Boy Podcast with myself, Aaron Kitoxian, the Star Rider Rod, and Long Live the Chief Mountain Mel. The season 4 finale of the Premier Boy Podcast coming real soon. But you can also check us out every Wednesdays. You can also check out other shows in the Premier Podverse. Aaron Kitoxian, King Toker Aaron saying, get check out all episodes right now. And new shows at the hour with Aaron said coming real soon. Check out all episodes of Star Time Podcast hosted by the Star Rider Rod on all podcast platforms. And check out Welcome to the Trilogy hosted by Long Live the Chief Mighty Mel. New episodes of Welcome to the Trilogy coming real soon. Listen and support every show in the Premier Podverse. We do have no Mr. Gentleman like that shout out for this week, but stay tuned for next week because we will have a new lineup of Mr. Gentleman like the shout outs. Like I said in the last episode, I haven't been listening to a lot of new shows like that, but I will start listening to new shows. So look out for new shout outs next week on Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. And of course, add me on Good Pods, Ken, Mr. Gentleman. Y'all already know Good Podcast and many independent podcasters. You see what everybody listens to. We can rate each other's shows. Aaron, we had the charts. And at the time, the top 4, Mr. Gentleman Like the Achievements, where we spotlight everything Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast is doing. And of course, we got the Good Pod charts for top 100 shows. We are number 3 for top 100 shows on the normal charts and number 2 on the indie charts. It's been a while since we've been in the top 3 and the top 2 for the top 100 show chart. So thank you everybody that's been listening to Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast on Good Pods. It really means a lot. Let's get to number 1. Let's get Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast number 1. Because honestly, we have not been number 1 for top 100 shows in over 2 years. So let's get to number 1. Let's get to number 1. For Society and Culture, we are still number 1 for Society and Culture. We've been number 1 for 9 days now. For our personal journal, we are still number 1. We've been number 1 for 13 days. So once again, thank you everybody who's been listening to Mr. Gentleman Like that podcast on Good Pods and other podcast platforms. Really means a lot. And thank you. Thank you. And of course, check out the official website of Mr. Gentleman Like that podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlikethatpodcast.com. You can check out every episode of Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. All 242 episodes of Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. Check out every guest who's been on Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. All 78 guests who've been on Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. Check out every video that we have on Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. Check out all my guest appearances that I've been on. More guest appearances coming real soon. And check out the official merch store of Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. www.tpublic.com. Search Mr. Gentleman Like that store. We have shirts, hoodies, mugs, and many more. Support the merch store so we can upgrade your listening experiences. So check out the official merch store of Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. www.tpublic.com. Search Mr. Gentleman Like that store. And we do have new merch coming real soon, so look out for that. And check out the official website of Mr. Gentleman Like that Podcast. www.realmrgentlemanlikethatpodcast.com, or listen to other platform by search Mr. Gentleman Like that Podcast on all other platforms. And yeah. And once again, thank you everybody who's been listening to this latest episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Next week, we do have a new episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Have a good day or night wherever you're listening to this episode.
My name is Brianna Lightfoot Smith, and you're listening to the Mr. Gentleman.